I like Resident Evil, zombies, insane soap opera plot lines, and whatever Leon does to my body every time he shows up on screen. I've been a fan of this series for years. Ever since I popped my survival horror cherry with Resident Evil 4 on the Wii, I was in. I dipped out briefly, we don't talk about that, but those mad lads over in Osaka brought me right back in.
Welcome to the family, son.
At this point, it's a top-tier Beans-approved franchise, which makes this confession a bit awkward. I've never played Resident Evil 1.
What?
Yeah, okay. They even made a real nice remake of it to get rid of some of that early PS1 jank. But this boy, nope, never touched it. It's always been there like a cloud over my head, a dark stain in my never-ending backlog, judging me, calling me a hypocrite as I try to get my friends to jump into the series. And to be frank, I have no good reason as to why I haven't played it. It's short, it's on every system imaginable, it's always on sale, so what gives? What's the holdup? Well, it's hard. It's got those old game qualities. One mistake, straight to death. Markers on the map to help keep track of things? Well, back in Nam, we took notes. I don't want to spend the weekend with Grandpa Mom. He makes me use ink ribbons every time I want to save. Now, I know I'm not sounding like the Chad gamer that I really am. I did get all 999 moons in Super Mario Odyssey after all.
Wait a minute, weep.
But every time I try to play Resident Evil 1, I just fall off for whatever reason. I don't even mind needing to stop and shoot. I played RE4 so many times and always have fun. The fixed camera doesn't bug me, Fatal Frame had that, and I love those games. It's really just a me problem. You see, modern games have made me a soft and shitty man, so we're fixing that. It's time for once and all to complete Resident Evil 1.
Resident Evil.
For this first run, I picked Jill. She's one of the main characters of the franchise, but I don't really know her. I've seen her in RE3 Remake, RE5, some of the cool animated movies, but I just don't have that strong of a connection with her like I do some other Resident Evil characters. Chris, on the other hand, well, we boys, dude. We've been through it. African safaris, boulder punching, getting bullied while I played as Ethan.
Sorry, Ethan.
So with Jill, we roll. After the iconic opening cutscene, it was time to start exploring all that Spencer's Manor had to offer. I'm immediately impressed with the game's visuals. I know they made some improvements since the remake originally launched on GameCube, but goddamn, this game looks real good. The pre-rendered backgrounds hold up really well, and the character models are exceptional. I just came off of RE9, which was a visual masterpiece, and getting a similar feeling of awe from a 2002 game is great. Now, as I said earlier, I've tried to start this game on numerous occasions, so for this opening 10 minutes, I have a little bit of unearned confidence. We do the opening rigmarole with Barry. Dude, look out, a zombie, scary. Run around the hall a bit looking for Wesker, bit bop bam. Now it's time to actually play the game.
Oh, I almost forgot. It's a lockpick.
Right off the bat, I'm placed into a classic Resident Evil gameplay loop, slowly accumulating new items that initially seem random but also carry an inevitable aha moment when you discover what they're to be used for. The sound design is perfect, every surface you walk on matches accordingly. Simple elements like the dining room clock give its respective locale added character. Zombie footsteps and groans present themselves as immediate danger, challenging the player to figure out how they're to overcome the deadly obstacle facing them while having seemingly nowhere to run. Spencer's Manor instantly establishes itself as a character in its own right, the same as other iconic RE set pieces, such as the police station in 2 or village in 4. And it's easy to see how this is the foundation of it all. I get into the flow, I'm moving, I'm gaming. You may not like it, but this is peak efficiency. I am Jill Valentine. I am Resident Evil. Oh cool, a full inventory. I can't pick anything else up? No problem. This isn't my first foray. I know the system. I'll just go to the first typewriter and put my items in the guaranteed to be there item box. Oh, there's no item box. Cool, neat. This is the first barrier I really had to overcome with RE1. You see, in other titles I'm used to getting an item box right off the cuff, faithfully located next to that initial typewriter, so having nowhere to put my shit in without knowing where I can put my shit in is something that I forgot about until I played this game again, and to be honest, is probably one of the biggest reasons I kept eating out so early in the past. I get it, it's not that big of a deal, but remember, modern baby gamer brain. It's fine for now though, because maybe I got hit by a zombie, which I don't know, maybe resulted in me needing to use my herbs, so maybe I just happen to have an extra spot available.
Nice.
Here's the current predicament. I have a shield, a blue gem, and I know where a key is. I have convinced myself at this point, with maybe 5% of the mansion even touched, that I need to get that key now. Problem is, the key is surrounded by spooky, scary, spiky guys. However, I believe that my shield will help protect me in the danger that comes from the spooky, scary, spiky guys, because guess what? That's math. Nope, back to the drawing board. I eventually stumbled upon this arrow, a new item, which would you believe turned up because I so bravely explored a part of the mansion I had not been to yet? This leads me to the outside mausoleum, and there we find the main task at hand, or so I think. In most Resident Evil games I've played, at least the puzzly ones, there is one primary puzzle that serves as sort of a umbrella over the location that the player currently is in. Once you solve the puzzle, typically in the form of collecting X amount of similar looking trinkets, you will be granted access to the next area. For Resident Evil 1, the said trinkets are in the form of 4 masks to be found throughout the mansion. Mr. Eye Holes, Mr. Eye, Nose, and Mouth Holes, Mr. Nose Hole, and my personal favorite, Mr. Mouth Hole. Apparently, if we bring all of these masks together, we will awaken evil. What kind of evil? Well, perhaps
Resident Evil.
or as they call it in Japan,
Biohazard.
in the Mask Mausoleum, we find our first mansion key, and with that, it's time to start unlocking the eastern part of the mansion. Here, we're introduced to a whole slew of other enemies. There's doggos outside, zombies on the first floor, zombies on the second floor, zombies in bathtubs. It's starting to get to be a real zombie party, and in the chaos of it all, I'm not really utilizing my map like I should. I'm just trying to see what I can and can't interact with to hopefully piece together a comprehensive game plan as to what to do. Now, this is where I run into barrier 2. The shooting is real annoying. I don't mind needing to aim to shoot in a third-person context, but with a fixed camera system, you hope you're hitting what you're aiming for. This system works fine when it's a single zombie in a long hallway, but a different story when you're stuck in a staircase with 2 zombies coming at you at once. I'm also too scared to really kill anything because as a human being who has existed for the last 30 years, I'm aware that leaving dead zombies unchecked will turn them into even tougher red zombies, so I'm just trying to get around everything as best as I can. After clearing out as much as I possibly can on this side of the mansion, I have another genius idea. What if I use my current key as a placeholder for the spooky spiky key that we found earlier? Then I can use that key to open up some more rooms and hopefully come across some sort of item box that frankly I should have been provided with at this point. Turns out though, you can't do anything with a full inventory, so let's see if I can maybe put something back. Very nice. Not very nice. I'm mad, and now the crows are ripe for my wrath. Neat. I continue moving along, finding whatever rooms I can open, well stocked with items and valuables that I would love to be picking up. Luckily, I have no shortage of handgun ammo, which is great with how I'm playing this game. Eventually, I stumble upon a dog collar, which points me to a terrace on the west side of the mansion. Upon studying the map to figure out where to go, my eyes lead me to something on the eastern side of the mansion. A side of the mansion that I thought I was familiar with. A peculiar square stands out, and what's this? A gray door marking? I never realized it due to the stress of getting around the zombie guarding said door, and then it happens. The first Resident Evil safe room, and what a safe room it is. A room where red turns to green, where items can be stored, freeing up essential space for the journey ahead, where we can collect ourselves, look at the map, and start making plans. This is my favorite part about Resident Evil games. Coming to the safe room, looking at the map, putting together all of my notes about what I found, then making a loadout that perfectly complements the next bit of progress I'm going to try to make before coming back to the safe room and doing it all again. In a world of jazz, I am finally grounded. I feel like for the first time in an hour, because yes, that's how long it took me to get to this point. I understand how to go about playing this game. I clear my inventory, grab some lighter fluid, and make off. There was another section in this wing of the mansion that I realized I had yet to explore. I wanted to go check it out, pick up some of the items I found along the way that I didn't have space for, and maybe even burn a zombie or two to reduce the CTP, or Crimson Threat potential, that was growing. Once I was satisfied with all I had found, it was time to go back to the safe room, save, then head to the west wing to try and find the terrace. I make my way to the safe room and clean up the old inventory, but before I save, I realize I'm really not a fan of a zombie being right in front of my only known safe room. It's too much of a risk, and we can't be having any poorly timed accidents now, can we? I have not saved since my first save in the dining room. And that's exactly where we're going back to. They may be able to take my progress, but they can't take my memories, damn it. The beauty of these games is that when you know what to do and which route to take, you trim a lot of the fat off your playtime. That's part of the reason as to why they're so replayable. Something I learned while retreading these halls was that, did you know Jill can auto-aim? Look at this shit, dude. Regardless of where I'm standing, if I tap the aim button, Jill boops her wacky little gun into the direction of the nearest threat. I want you to realize that I learned this fact here, right at this exact moment. This is the third time that I have attempted to play this game and I had no idea. This is huge. It's embarrassing, but it makes this game 1000% more playable. Now, I've got an item box, Jill is auto-aiming, I'm getting familiar with the map, it's hitting. And to make matters even better, I find the terrace referenced in the note that came with the dog whistle. We blow it, put old Fido down, and we're rewarded with a, you'll never guess, an imitation of a key. Damn, Resident Evil, I didn't know you were chill like that. On my way to the now attainable spooky spiky key, some of the zombies that I killed have morphed into crimson zombies. They're fast and scary, and I'm always clenching as I run away from them. No time for that though. I've got a fake ass key and I know exactly what to do with it. The next mansion key, the armor key, is ours, and I'm off to the far east once more. Earlier, when I had no inventory space, I had to pass up a shotgun I found, so I go and grab that, and then we're treated to some more berry time.
Barry! Help!
That was a close one. A second late, you would have fit nicely into a sandwich.
To be honest, I was starting to forget he was also supposedly searching the mansion with me. Where you been, bud? Feels like I'm the only one doing anything, but alright, no biggie. When I get back to the safe room, I do find that Barry has made up for it a bit, being a good little Discord mod for his kitten Jill and donating some much appreciated samples. The armor key leads us to a fun little stained glass window puzzle where the crows remind me who's actually in charge of the place, but upon completing it, we're granted with our first death mask. Eventually, I cross paths with everyone's favorite little guy. Richard! It's Richard, yay, you know, Resident Evil's infamous Richard? Seems as though he's been poisoned by a big snake and needs some serum. It's a top priority of mine, and nothing will stand in the way of getting Richard his precious serum in a timely manner. Damn, just missed him. Such a tragic fate for a close friend. During my search for the serum, the zombies really started to pile up, so I'll have to start making some moves to slim them out a bit. I do love that the game doesn't allow you to become too comfortable. There's always some new threat lurking in places once thought familiar, and I do wish that more modern RE titles were as aggressive as the original. I continue slowly unlocking the mansion, solving puzzles, encountering iconic moments that have cemented themselves in gaming history, shooting bees, when we come across yet another Dead Stars member, Forrest. Shout out to his family, sorry for their loss, but congratulations to me on this sick new grenade launcher. While we're here, we should probably let Barry know about Richard too. Nope, not gonna mention it, alright. Speaking of Richard, it's time to equip our shotgun and go avenge him. I love the fact that Resident Evil's first boss is just a giant snake. Something I've noticed about this game is the amount of creatures and insects there are to fight. Sure, we've seen alligators and bugs, but this game is constantly pumping them out. Like I'm pumping my shotgun right into the snake. It's a fairly easy fight, but I actually liked it a lot. It was a good use of everything this game is trying to do. A tight enclosed space with an enemy that fills up a third of it, just slow enough to give you just enough time to move out of the way. After taking out the snake, we get our next death mask. My next major puzzle was the night room. When I first came across it, I figured I would need a gas mask, but at this point, all of the rooms that I can visit have been accounted for, and there is no such item. So I look at the wall and see what appears to be pictures of the night statues that moved out when I entered the room. A bit hard to tell, the game is showing its age here a bit, but we got there. I originally thought that the pictures were trying to tell me which statues needed to be pushed in and which ones should be pushed out. But when that failed, I realized I just need to get them all pushed in, and doing so rewarded us with our third mask. Finally, the weird hentai puzzle with the plant tentacle things. First I thought I'd have to burn them. Then I thought maybe Richard's serum would work. But upon further investigation, it seemed like I just had to find some plant killer and spray it on the tenties. The RE map, like so many throughout the franchise, has this cool feature where red means you still have stuff to do and green means you're good. There's one section of the map that stands out, a perfect place for plant killer that I must have missed because I was too busy doing something else. We get what we need, kill them tennies, and collect our fourth and final mask plus a ton of herbs. And that appears to be a wrap on the first primary section of Resident Evil, albeit a few areas to clean up later when we have the right items. Resident Evil games have a tendency to have excellent openings and kind of trail off a bit as you get deeper into them. Never getting bad per se, but I found that most of the time throughout the series, the later sections are often outclassed by the earlier sections, and I wonder if I'll feel the same about this game. I head to the mausoleum, and upon returning the masks to their rightful places, we're met with a fight against everyone's favorite coffin mausoleum Crimson Head. We take him out and get a key to the next area. The Courtyard, home of fountains that don't work, tombstone puzzles that I don't understand yet, I'll save these for later, and this thing. We've had some foreshadowing of her arrival up to this point, but now she's here for real for real.
Howdy do, fellow kids.
I know I've seen her around in RE lore videos and callbacks, but to be honest, I don't have much of any idea as to who she is. I just know that her name is Lisa and she's illiterate.
This, you should vote. Me. I leave power. Good. Thank you. Thank you.
I steal Lisa's crank and make my way deeper into the courtyard. I come across a waterfall, which is a problem for later, and open up yet another new location, the residence. After being violated by another tentacle-based creature, I overhear Barry talking some shit, and I'm starting to not trust the big guy.
Barry, I heard someone talking.
Oh, talking to myself is becoming a bad habit.
He's a cutie, I'll give him that, but I'm worried I'm in for some heartbreak. The room he was in contains a hidden passage that leads to the Aqua Ring, the most 90s ass sounding name of anything ever. Aqua Ring is home to sharks, because of course it is. It doesn't really matter, we're here now, and I've been stockpiling the big guns for situations just like this. Before rushing back down to Shark Tale, I explore this section a bit more and discover some more bees. That's not all though, another room puts us face to face with giant spiders. Once again, shout out to this game's enemy variety. After exploring more of the residence, I find the control room key and head back down to the Aqua Ring. This time though, not stopping at all, is to not get eaten again. I find more wet tennies in a control room with probably one of the most stressful sequences in the entire game. After attempting to drain the water tank, Big Daddy here decides he's having no part in that and starts smashing the glass, which is the only thing separating you from him. And maybe a lot of water, but at this point I'll take the water. We now have to pull down these safety shields in order to protect us. It's a series of running around to different terminals and flipping switches, all while a critical damage meter is filling at the top of the screen. It's pretty easy to do if you know what you're doing, but when you're thrown into the madness without any understanding of what's happening, it can build a lot of stress. It's definitely a moment that stuck with me, and when they do release the modern remake of this game, because you know they will, I can't wait to see how it gets reimagined. After the water drains, I'm anticipating a fight with the sharks, so I run to supply up, and it turns out that I didn't need to do any of that. I'm rewarded with a key to move forward through the residence, and I die. We'll nip that in the bud so it doesn't happen again. This next room was real weird. There was a killer beehive nest, which was the source of the bees that we found earlier, but don't worry, there is some insect killer right next to it. A science puzzle where you do
Science!
and a door that leads to a huge plant which is presumably in charge of all the hentai tennies that keep wanting to have their way with me. I take out the bees and I do some science to kill the plant. After going to see how good of a job I did, Jill gets got, but not before Barry saves the day again. Now, surely, we'll stick out the rest of this adventure together.
We should split up again and investigate.
Alright, bet. We get another key for the mansion, and I'm on my way back a lot sooner than I was anticipating. On the way there, though, we finally run into a STARS member who isn't dead or Barry. It's Wesker! And he is so psyched to see me.
Jill, so you're safe.
He throws a bit of shade towards Barry before disappearing once more.
Barry, he sounded a little flaky.
Now that you mention it, yeah. I'll keep a close eye.
I expertly navigate my way back to the mansion. Once again, I expertly navigate my way back to the mansion. Only to find it's been infested by Battletoads. I'm starting to yearn for the days of just having zombies. I do love that the game doesn't allow you to become too comfortable.
So that was a fucking lie.
But I am happy that I have a reason to start tapping into the bigger guns. We get a nice final taste of Spencer's Manor, solving more puzzles and getting more treats. I did get hung up on this painting clue for a while. Apparently there's a spot behind a painting in the art room, and I can clearly see it on my map, but I guess that's just not accessible right now. As I'm nearly complete with the mansion, the snake that killed our dearly beloved, Ralph, I think, comes back and promptly gets got once more. We get a medallion, and at this point, I have like 10 of these things, so I'm hoping that some of them may open up the path to the waterfall we found earlier. I then start to lose the plot for a while. I had a map that was as cleared out as I could possibly make it, and a ton of items in my inventory that I probably just had to do something with. After about an hour and a half of aimlessly running around and clicking on items, I managed a few Jimmy Neutron brain blasts, and ended up with a metal object that will obviously fit in the gated door in the lobby, but needs to be combined with something first, a new and shiny magnum, and a way through the waterfall. I still have a bunch of things that I don't know what the hell they're there for at this point, but I just have to trust the process. The path through the waterfall leads us to some underground tunnels filled with boulders, giant spiders, and another STARS member.
You're alive!
Typical RE stuff at this point. We find Barry once more, and this time he shows his true colors.
Jill, go check it out. I'll stay here and secure our escape route in case something happens.
Okay. Barry!
Trapping us in some tunnels patrolled by Lisa. I'll be honest, I was kind of expecting her to pop up a lot more after her introduction, similar to Mr. X, but she's really only used for set pieces at this point. The tunnels, though, lead to what appears to be Lisa's room, where we once again bear witness to her mastery of the English language and get the item required to make it through the gated door in the lobby. The door leads us to a tomb where we find Barry and Lisa hanging out.
Jill, you're alive. No time to talk. Jill, hand me my gun!
I had a choice here. Give Barry his gun back or don't. And man, I don't know why in the world he thought he was getting it back, because fuck that guy.
Barry!
Me and Lisa work together to open up her mom's tomb. At least that's how I view it. And that's the last we see of her. After exiting, we find a fountain which has some conveniently located wolf and eagle indents. And then we arrive to the last section of the game. The labs. As has become tradition throughout the series, it appears RE1 also ends with us in a lab. Personally, I think this game's lab setup has been the best I've seen. In most RE games I've played up until this point, you just sort of stumble into the lab near the end. Throughout all of RE1 though, you're constantly getting notes and memos from scientists working in a lab under the manor, and it becomes apparent that the creatures you've been encountering up in the mansion are due to failed experiments happening down here. It strengthens the lab's identity as the origin for all of the hell you just went through. I come across an X-ray puzzle with a letter addressed to Ada.
Well, if it isn't the bitch in the red dress.
Pretty cool! The X-ray reveals a password for a terminal we'll come across later. In fact, most of the lab is just figuring out security-themed puzzles. Scattered throughout are computer terminals where you can insert an MO disk. Inserting an MO disk into each terminal, 3 in total, unlocks a secure door. The lab isn't very big, so it's pretty quick to find these terminals, but the place has been infested with these mutated bugs that hit real hard. Luckily, I have not just one, but 2 sick-ass magnums to help with the extermination process. After getting all of the MO discs in, the secret door unlocks and leads us to Chris!
Chris! You're alive!
Of course I'm alive.
He's sad and locked up, but don't you worry, Mama's gonna get him out. The only locked door left is this elevator, which requires fuel to be powered up. With gas prices like these, I think Umbrella got a little bit more than they bargained for. Luckily though, it appears they have their own proprietary fuel that explodes if it's shaken at all. This means to transport the fuel across the lab, I'm going to need to use my D-pad for the first time this entire playthrough. I clean up some bugs prior to the journey, and with that, she's off, folks. After fueling up the elevator, I find a terminal which specializes in self-destruction. I can't do anything with it right now, so I wonder if it'll come into play later. Taking the elevator leads us to Wesker. Finally, the big confrontation. He unleashes
The ultimate life form.
and I'm getting mentally prepped for the first Wesker fight of this series. I got magnums. I got health. I'm ready to... Alright, never mind, cool. Guess I'm fighting Shadow instead. The timer goes down really quick, like a lot faster than I was expecting. And I'm rewarded with the Master Key. I rescue Chris and I'm expecting an epic run out of a lab that's blowing up around us, but nah, we just kinda get to the roof, call for help, get picked up, and that's it, I guess. To be fair, this game has multiple endings, like a lot from what it seems. In thinking about it, maybe if I didn't let emotion get the best of me and I'd let Barry live, he probably would have had a redemption arc or something where he sacrificed himself by using the self-destruct terminal as Chris and I made our escape. I'm not looking that up, by the way. I'll just see what it is when I play the game again, but I think maybe the game was trying to tell me something when they had a picture of Barry's family fall out of his pocket as Lisa yeeted him off the cliff.
Barry!
Although this was the end of my first playthrough, I know there are differences when playing as Chris, and I'm sure there are different outcomes depending on how you handle certain situations. I'm excited to jump back in and experience more of what this game has to offer. But with this initial playthrough, I proved something to myself. I am a Chad gamer. I deserved those moons in Mario Odyssey. Sure, the game wasn't a brutal challenge like you'd find with Dark Souls, but I think a lot of people, myself included, throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to revisiting older games. There are definitely some annoyances, and game design has changed a lot over the last 30 years, but it's undeniable that games like Resident Evil are timeless classics. Take the hour, reacclimate to older game design, then have fun with it. Because although this industry is always looking forward to what's coming next, there's a treasure trove of options from the past that anyone who genuinely loves this medium should not deprive themselves of. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. And if you liked what you saw, maybe consider subscribing to the channel or throwing a like. I'm still trying to figure out what types of videos I'd like to make for this channel, so any and all feedback is super helpful. Also, if there's a certified banger classic you think I should check out, go ahead and let me know in the comments. If it's something I haven't played yet, I might just check it out.